Hey, welcome back everyone. So today we're gonna make tacos, carnitas, and we're gonna use pork, obviously, and but the recipe is interesting. It's milk and orange, like zest and orange peels. It's quite interesting. It looked amazing, and we're gonna try to make it today. It should take about 45 minutes to put everything together. Let's get started. So the first we're gonna do is we're gonna get a good size amount of pork, okay? You see how there's a lot of fat? We're only gonna trim some of this fat off. We're gonna leave a lot of this fat on here because we want it to cook in its own fat. Don't trim off too much fat because we're gonna need that when we put it in the pot. Okay, so I'm just gonna trim off some of the fat, not too much. Okay. And this fat I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna put this fat back in the pot when we make the carnitas. So don't get rid of the fat. So first we're gonna take this, and the goal is to cut it into about 2-inch cubes as evenly as possible. So we'll start the first one with, I see about right here, right? And we're gonna take this and, you know, kind of like that. You see that? We'll do another one. We'll do a couple of these. And you kind of want this fat on here because it's gonna just add to the flavor, trust me. So these are about 1-inch cubes. Cut this down right here. Real simple. Looks amazing, doesn't it? This looks great. So I'm just gonna cut this right here down the center. Make sure they're all about 1 inch, okay? Because if you want it to cook evenly on the pan, what we're about to do next. So make sure you cut them as evenly as possible. So now let's salt this pork. Salt, okay? Now that we have the pork cut into 2-inch cubes, we're gonna place it in the pan. I probably have about, I don't know, like a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. You can use coconut oil, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna fry. We're not gonna cook it all the way, okay? We're just gonna brown the outsides of the pork. Once the outside of the pork is all brown, like a golden brown, which we'll see, we'll add it to the pot, and we'll add all the other ingredients into it. And we'll slow cook this for about 2 or 3 hours. If you have more time, actually, if you have a crock pot, you can put in a crock pot, you can slow cook it for 6 hours, but I don't have a crock pot, so I just have a pot. So I'll just put it in the pot. I'll cook it for about 2 hours to get it really tender. Then after that, we're gonna put it in the oven for about, I say 5 minutes on broil, which is gonna crispy the outside again. So you're gonna get a mix of a crispy outside and a soft inside in these carnitas. So that now let's just pan fry these pieces of pork, and let's get started. So you cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now you see how I cut and leave to about 2-inch slices. You want them all even so it cooks evenly, and rotate them every 3 to 4 minutes, and make sure you cook all the sides nice and crispy, nice golden brown. See that? It's kind of what we want, but you want it a little browner, a little bit more crispy. And that's perfect right there. Okay, so look at that. So take it off. Now add the pork to the pot so we can slow cook the marinade inside of it. So the camera kind of cut out when I was pouring the spices in, so let me just tell you what I put in here. So we browned the pork, right? And all we put on the pork was salt and pepper. We put it in the pan. We cooked it for about, I think that was about 15 to 20 minutes. It was when it was, crispy on the outside. In the pan, you're gonna put some of that oil that's left back in this pan, okay? So just put the pork in and pour a little of that cooking oil back in the pan. Okay, in the pan I have 2 tablespoons of paprika, 2 tablespoons of salt. Right here I have 3 tablespoons of sugar, and I have 2 to 3 tablespoons is up to you of onion powder. Let's say 2 tablespoons of onion powder. We're gonna add 8 garlic cloves, and we're gonna add these little bay leaves. Boom. Okay, it looks like this right now. So this is what we got right now. So right now we got the bay leaves, the pork, the sugar, the onion powder, the salt, the chili powder, and am I missing anything? And I think some salt. Oh, and the garlic clove. And now we need 1 orange and 1 lime. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna squeeze 1 lime in. You know? Boom. One more. Boom. And squeeze the rest of this by hand. Next, we need the juice of 1 orange. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this in half and throw the whole orange in there. So, keep squeezing the rest of the oranges. And last thing we're gonna need some milk. So I'm gonna use 2.5% milk. Boom. You see that, how that's all orange? That looks, wow, that looks amazing. Add 1 cup of hot water. So now we're gonna slow cook it for about 2 hours. In the meantime, let's cut some cilantro and white onion. Now it's been about 2 hours. Let's cut these sides for our carnitas. I wanted to use a jalapeno, but they're kind of bad, so I'm gonna use a habanero. Hopefully I don't pay for it tomorrow. But let's cut the cilantro, onion for the sides for our carnita taco. That's the cilantro. Okay, just 1 bushel of cilantro. Nice in. Next, you want to dice as thin as possible 1 white onion. Or you can use a purple onion, but white onion is good. Now you're gonna dice 1 large tomato. Finally dice it into small slices. Perfect. Let's check on these carnitas. They should be about done. Turn this off. Bring the pan over. Now we're gonna transfer the pork to the pan. This looks amazing. You see that? It's like orange and crispy. So move the pork from the pan that's marinated into a pan or plate that you're gonna put in the oven, and scoop some of the juices onto the pork. So you see that I put the pork in the pan, then I put about 3 cups, small little cups, so maybe I could say 6 teaspoons of its own fat oil back on top, so it's gonna help it crisp up. So let's toss it in the oven real fast. So while we're waiting in the oven, I changed my mind. I'm gonna dice some lettuce too to put on our tacos real fast. Wow, look at that. We're gonna let it cool down for about a little while, and I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Now we're gonna make our tacos. So you just wanna, spread the tacos evenly, or you can just push down with a fork. I use a knife just to spread it easier onto the tacos. Look at, you can smell the flavor and the juice is slipped in the pan. And 3 is not enough, so I'm gonna toss 2 more. We're gonna make it 5 pork tacos. Why not, Because 3 is never enough. Next, we're gonna add some, make it more even, obviously. Okay, now we're gonna add vegetables. So we're gonna add some tomatoes. That looks great. After tomatoes, we're gonna add some habaneros, or you can use jalapenos. And I de-seeded them so they're not as hot. Next, I'm gonna add the white onions. And last, after this, I'm gonna add the cilantro. Then get some lime on right before I eat, okay? So how does that look? And the last thing we do, we need to cut up a lime to put on the side. So we'll squeeze the lime before we try these tacos out. I'm trying them first without the lettuce, then we'll taste it with the lettuce. I just want to try how the recipe goes. So let's dice up this lime. That was easy, 45 minutes to make those carnitas, or in other words, little meats. Essentially, it cooks in its own pork fat. I guess traditionally, it just cooks in these giant vats of just pork, and it's basically its own fat, but we did a little twist today with the orange, the lime, the milk. It looks amazing. Let's try it out right now. Let's do it. And hopefully the habaneros don't burn. Well, you know what I mean. That looks great. We'll add some hot sauce. Now this one right here, some hot sauce. Now let's do this. Well, that's good. A little heat though from the habanero, but man, that was pretty good. I'm actually impressed myself. So it's quite simple. The only thing I would do differently is I would fry the pork a little longer in the pan to make it more crispy, and I would slow cook it longer. So essentially, cook it in the pan for 3 or 4 hours on a slower simmer, or people can buy a crock pot, slow cook it for 6 hours or so. But it's actually a quite amazing dish. Obviously, you can use jalapenos if you want less heat. I would have, but all I have is habaneros. Because I have a little habanero trees. I have like 3 of them outside, so which is kind of neat. This goes great. I wish I had better hot sauce, but that's the best I can buy here. Anyways, have a great night. Let me know if you make this recipe, how it tastes. And if it doesn't taste good, well, you made it wrong. I'm just joking. Anyways, have a great night. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys again. All right, goodbye.